fundamental weakness, fundamental decadence. We do come from great explorers and inventors and people of great courage and great will and great capacity for good and evil. And through the adversity that carved out this continent and all the countless conflicts and wars that took place, a great independent people were developed. And we lean heavily on the bones of the past that form a type of mental crutch for what we are today. And what we are today is a very evil, wicked, degenerate people who need to repent. And I'll say this to the atheists and the agnostics and the rest of you. I don't expect you to go in to repent in one of these 501c3 whorehouses with a little glitter bug, sparkly preacher up there in a fancy suit reading off a teleprompter like it's Barbie dress-up hour for more dress-up make-believe with the childlike public. But I'll tell you something right now. There's a lot more to this universe than meets the eye. There's a lot of things that meet the eye that you don't recognize, that you don't see the world as a child sees it. I believe the key to wisdom and the key to true enlightenment is innocence. A child sees a Ferris wheel, or a tree, or a river, or a little creek, or even a fort in an inner city backyard with garbage all over the ground. They see it with wonderment and amazement. The world is new to them. The universe is open to them, and they rightfully are in awe and taken back at it. And I think it's that sense of wonderment and that sense of awe that we have lost. You know, people think that being worldly makes one deep or intelligent or knowledgeable. And that may be true to a certain extent if you don't go too far down that road. But I think the worldly things I've done, the bad things I've done, the things I've seen, it was a process. But if you haven't become disgusted with the world by the time you're 18, 19, 20 years old and haven't started turning the ship in the other direction, there's something wrong with you. And I talk a lot about this, but I never have the words to describe it. I mean, we are on a planet, and the life on that planet, the fertile fields, the mountains, the lakes, the streams, the forests, the meadows, the badlands, the oceans, the valleys, the rainforests, the jungles, the frozen tundra, and the atmosphere, all 15,000 of the breathable atmosphere, all of that is thinner than the skin of an apple. We live on a giant planetoid with a molten center of nickel, magnetized with floating islands of rock on which we sail. And out from the planet is an endless cornucopia of possibilities, billions and billions of galaxies photographed by Hubble alone. The sun, a distant star, warms your skin in the morning. it gives the energy to the plants to grow that then gives us substance and produces seeds to generate life anew. The seas filled with hundreds of thousands of different forms of life, just teeming from the single-cell organism up to the blue whale. All of it, just endless wonder. You know, you have a sense of always being here because you're alive, you're conscious now. But you have to remember, before you came infinity, and after you comes infinity. And the control freak eugenicists tell the world that there is no God, there is no spirituality, there is no wonderment. We're all just blobs of tissue. We don't control ourselves. We don't have free will. We don't have any destiny. And that's a fraud. Your very gut tells you that. Look at how humans can see a sunset, or how humans can appreciate the beauty of a forest, or a nicely set table with a flower arrangement. You know, we don't just see, we see the universe, we see its beauty, we love it, we are part of it, we are of it. And we do have free will to do good and bad. We know good and bad. The establishment's biggest lie is to tell you there is no good and bad. There is no right and wrong. And so they tell you just run off and be an animal, satiate yourself, and we, the technocrats, we will control the future. And then you look into that future, we're not part of it. So I tell you, seize control of your own destiny. Your calls are coming up. All right, I've been pontificating. You know, for now, there's one way you can't stop them from censoring us. That's to buy a high-quality copy of Endgame, Terror Storm, The Obama Deception. You name it at Infowars.com, and burn a whole bunch of copies of them and give them to people. And it's having a huge effect, and I want to commend all of you out there that are doing that. Later, the big censorship information coming up. Let's go to your calls right now. Kevin, Joey, John, Kathy, Ray, and others. Let's go ahead and talk to Kevin. Kevin, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Alex?
Good, sir.
Well, I've been thinking about this subject for quite a while, and I'm sure that you've done much more research than I have. And I wanted to ask you, because undoubtedly the government stands to make a lot of money or benefit from the vaccines for swine flu. I was wondering just how much they would benefit from it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things. The government wants to set the precedent for forcible injections. They have the executive orders and the laws, but that's like passing a law that, you know, all black people have to wear a yellow dunce hat. It's obviously racist and wrong and against the organic common law. Or, you know, saying all white people have to chop their left finger, you know, their left hand pinky off. I mean, it's a fraud. It's a lie. So to try to say the government can forcibly inject you with what we want, when we want, their argument is then, well, it's for the greater good. Well, let's look at what governments have done in the past. Eugenics, sterilizing people with vaccines, poisoning people. Let's look at the history of the vaccines, how deadly they are, how poisonous they are. And by the way, it's not by accident. It's been proven to be by design. So they set the precedent for this police state to put in your body what they want and set that precedent. So that's the main reason they're pushing all this fear-mongering. Then these companies can make hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, can you imagine having all of Western Europe and the United States, roughly 600 million people, you know, pay $20, $30, $40 for these vaccines? Obama wants to push that everybody start taking 3 flu shots a year. That's in the Washington Post yesterday. I've got that in my stack. I mean, this is serious. And then also there's the police state function of the federalization. They get to practice federal takeover of the states and counties and cities, and the feds themselves admit they're under United Nations response. They're under World Health Organization directives following orders from them, and the UN came out in a bunch of statements the last 2 weeks saying this has been a great drill. You know, this is great for global governance. So those are the basic reasons why they like to fearmonger all this.
Oh, thanks a lot. I had no idea.
I appreciate your call, Kevin. It's really good to hear from you. And I respect the fact that you care enough to even listen to the show and want to be involved in society. Joey in Florida. Joey, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, how you doing?
Good. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. First of all, I've had my eyes opened about a month and a half ago. I watched the Obama deception with my friend Spencer and my girlfriend. Blew me down. Blew me down. And right now in West Palm Beach, Florida, we started a Facebook that's sending people to InfoWars, sending people to Prison Planet, getting them involved. It's called People Opposing Tyranny. And
well, let me just say this, and I'll hold you over if need be. We are having a huge effect. I mean, I've been saying that year after year as things build, but I mean, now